Oseo.
Oseo.
That's a Cherokee greeting, and wave the great feather for the good of it. That's a summons. That's a summons for these spirits for us today. Let me start off here. If someone were to know the person whose dwelling is desire, whose world is the heart, and whose light is the mind, the ultimate refuge of every self, he would truly be a knower. Hakia, I know the person you speak of, the ultimate refuge of every self. He is the person made of desire. Wow, okay. Tell me, Coyote, who is his ideal? Woman. So you see that gets us started. March is given for Women's Month, like that. Friday was International Women's Day, and some of the feminists asked, do we get a day off? Do we have to cook? Do we get a bonus from our workplace? But it's a good cue there. So that's the way that I'm starting. In other words, my theme is going to be the Easter egg, the rabbit, woman, Egypt. And all that's going to come together. All of this thing, Easter, the resurrection, all the theme that everybody has for that, as well as spring, has all really stemmed from ancient Egypt, thousands of years ago. And you go right over here to my painting that I've collected. Uh-oh, the sunlight's coming in. I've collected this painting here in Borrego Springs, and it's labeled on the back, Desert Woman, Korea, and the artist, Lily Osuna. And here, in front of her, there, you see all these flowers. And that's really the inspiration that I started with here. Out there in Anza Borrego, there are virtual lakes of wildflowers in great, beautiful bloom. So that's really what I'm starting with. And I have this piece, you keep focusing on that. I don't want these flowers moving, but the flowers want to move. Out there in the flower world, the dawn glows over a road of flowers. The flowers want to move. But this time it wasn't enough, and one of them started showing off, waving her petals, as she says. All of them moving, that wasn't so much of anything. Watch this, whirling, 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 whirling. I am set into motion now, set into motion. Okay, you win. You take the prize. But what you said just now, it wasn't so funny. We were doing okay without it. So you can just take it back. Ha! But now it's too late. They are already coming, flowers. They are moving. They can't be called back. See, out there in the flower water, they are bobbing side by side. Bobbing. So flowers very much a part of Native America, very much a part of the ancient Mexicans, very, very much a part of the ancient Egyptians. Flowers, flowers all everywhere, like that. If you just go right above, there's a mask going along with this theme of woman. This is a Yaqui mask. I would guess it's pretty rare. It's called, Macha Makara moon mask. It's a moon mask. It's really designed for a woman when she's about to give birth, if it happens to be in the middle of the night and the constellation of the Pleiades in Yaqui, the vulture, is going to be at the zenith, then she has this mask on. It has kind of fertility symbols for this dark constellation. And up above it there is my depiction of the rabbit in the moon. Then you can just now move over to this side here. This is Sky Woman. This is my rendering of Sky Woman. I had introduced it last week, but we'll do a little more today. She is usually thought of or even depicted with a cloud symbol, or you might look in the clouds and see her looking down at you. I have here. So that's, Sky Woman. That's what we call her. She can be Sky Maiden, Sky Mother, but that's who she is. Interesting, in ancient Egypt, she's going to be depicted as a full-bodied woman who is bending over. She's bending over, and as in Native America, as she does, the earth kind of comes up a little bit and meets her, and she kisses the earth. In Native America, following that depiction in ancient Egypt. As she does this, then her two, what they call them sky children, suddenly burst into appearance, and that is Coyote and Badger. And right below her, this is a Yaqui Pascola mask of the badger. It's a badger face. Now in Navajo, which I was presenting last week, that's Nahash Chi'id, meaning earth womb. So to understand what's happening there is that once that the badger has come into being, he's going to turn around and go right back down the hole. The hole is in Navajo, and he goes all the way down to the third world. The third world is given where changing woman, grasshopper girl, these elemental feminine things begin to take place. So then from that, this creature, he goes among women and he causes women to, get upset and so forth. What's called sexual desire. He rouses sexual desire in women. And then we have Coyote, who also bursted out, but he didn't go back down into the ground. He stayed up here with everybody. And with him, you're focusing on him right here. He's a different one than I had up there last week. We'll put this together with him. The female organ is described as Sukhavati, where Coyote dwells in his own nature. Explaining his own nature, he says that he does indeed dwell in the Sukhavati of her generative organ, in the form of her self-seed, while her pleasure is called the girl herself. So you get the idea there with both of these characters, what their real fundamental relationship is with women here. And if you go down here, we can look at what I have here. I've been presenting this for several weeks, but I'm calling this is a rabbit knoll in the Kauai, that's so each Wamwini rabbit knoll, which is out there facing what they now call Warner Springs Kupa, or Suishbeka rabbit's house. And so that's very important in all this theme, because what's buried in this mound is the head of Osiris. And so these people, this culture that they have there, we're calling Kauai, Murueta, have also stemmed from ancient Egypt here. And we go all the way back here where Sky Woman is. I have a star. The star in ancient Egypt is also the symbol for Nut. Nut is Sky Woman, Sky Mother, and so forth. So that's her symbol. It's going to be a star, and I like that beaded star that Vivian gave to me for that And from that star you can go all the way down here. So Nut in ancient Egypt, she is the daughter of Shu, air, and Tepnet, moisture. So you can kind of imagine between sky and earth there's a circulating dryness and moisture going on in between. Basically, Shu would be the air, and she is given birth to Sky Woman. And then Sky Woman is going to bring forth somebody who's very famous, known as Isis. So there's a place, I think it's the Greek name, Dendera, but in ancient times is known as Per-Shu, the house of Shu. Again, Shu, we figure in this kind of relationship, would be the father of Nut, Sky Woman. And there, it had long ago been attested, thousands of years ago, that this was the very birth chamber for what becomes a famous goddess called Isis. So if you go right next to her there is an ancient clay figure who is holding her hands and arms in a gesture for the birth chamber. And below her, this represents a door, a gate. The door, like the hole that a badger goes down into, has the same pronunciation, aha. And this is called, in the myth that we're looking at, as the gate of Nut. So those figures, they represent the birth chamber. Now, back to her, the figure there, when Nut brought forth her child, she exclaimed, voila, voila, written as As, which means translated into Isis, wow, look at you, you've made me a mother, pretty much is what happens there. So there it's actually written that she gave birth to a dark-skinned girl, and that's her. She later in the myth becomes very famous because she is paired together with the other famous character, we're using Greek names here, Osiris, and he is murdered by his brother, and she uses her magic to resurrect him, bring him back to life. So she's very significant. In Nevada, in the Nevada schools there, where I was with teacher and actress Vivian Olds, we did a real production of this, and the student Tiffany played the part of Isis, and her acting of that still lives in my memory. It was wonderful. So that's who's taking place there here, and necessary in this theme that we're calling resurrection. And the resurrection part of it, becomes teased more and more over time into meaning a person. But originally, it's all vegetative. It's the reoccurring life of spring, the flowers blooming again, and everything, after winter is where it all got started. And it got more and more moved into somebody died and came back to life here. So next we can just move up from that to this egg. This is a wonderful weaving, woven like a basket, big Easter egg here. So where's this theme, the Easter egg, come from that we all have grown up around for a long time? There's 2 episodes for this. So if you can go all the way up, straight up there, way up there, I have a rendering here of a lizard man. Now, in ancient Egypt, Coyote also had a place. He wasn't called Coyote exactly. He was called Kinemu. Kinemu basically means, making connections, conjunctions, conjoining, like that. Basically, even as a shaman, Coyote seeks to awaken into a woman her animal lineage, which seems to be part of the badger going back down in the hole. They all are related to relating woman to her animal image. This aspect of Knumu is Alazar, like that. And he's been featured in ancient Egyptian between two coyotes, Anpu and Aqua, like that, as the opener of the way. And indeed, he is the opener of the way. And everything that Coyote is, Knumu is. He's just the same as in Coyote. Coyote's first to come, So in Egypt you would say Knumu was first to come, And he created the first egg. Not only did he create the first egg, but he created all these deities. In one of the Coyote stories from Northern California, where all of the deities, important people, were all arranged sitting around in the roundhouse. Coyote suddenly just popped up in the middle of the floor there in front of them. They were all surprised and said, "Wow, who are you?" He said, "I'm Coyote, and I made you." It's the same with the ancient Knumu in Egypt. Now we can come back down here to the Easter egg. We have another one. Seb is Seb or Geb. I have to explain it. Geb means he's kind of like the earth god. Not just the whole earth, but mainly the surface of the earth. And he's frequently shown upholding Nut, the woman arched over the sky there. And so Seb also seems to have been the name of a goose. So Seb or Kib as the earth god, together with Nut, has produced this egg. Now, in the egg of Knumu, what comes out of that egg is the sun. What comes out of the egg here from the goose, Seb, is the sun as a phoenix. Is more, like a phoenix bird there. So that would seem to be what is going on with the huge size of that. And one of the kind of prayers, many of these things have been, transcribed and have been found and translated. So I'll just read this one. Hail to the sycamore tree of the goddess Nut. Grant me the water and air which dwell in thee. I embrace the throne which is in Unu, house of the hare, and I watch and guard the egg of the great cackler, the Seb goose. It grows, I grow. It lives, I live. It breathes the air, I breathe the air. So that is it's a kind of prayer or chant that has been recorded several times here. So it's called the Great Egg, or the Great Thing, or of the Great Cackler, Seb, any of those. So I've never seen what the beginning of the Easter egg is, for all of that. And we've been introducing the rabbit. Osiris, using the Greek name of Osor. Osor means, strong, to be strong. And the Greeks have given it the name Osiris by reading the hieroglyph that way. Osiris also becomes to know as, one Nefer, pretty much rendered as beautiful hair, beautiful rabbit. But the word Nefer means a lot of good things, and along, with him, which here in the native people here, he is enshrined in the rabbit's knoll, as giving rise to the hawk Kasilipiwish, who is really the Kauai version of Horus. Back to my illustration above the egg. This is an ancient illustration. This is somewhere in the time of like 4,000 years ago. And this is Unit. So she's the female rabbit. Our whole theme here is for female and woman. So Unit that's her portrait. If you go over next to her, you see my drawing. This is my drawing of her, of Unit. rendering her, as also beautiful rabbit, beautiful hair. Now, a lot of this has also been found, recorded, I think it was in a tomb from 4,000 years ago by a pharaoh by the same name. And his name is Unas. And if you look over here, if you can see this one here, this is exactly how his cartouche appears, exactly. Now, N, because this figure, the zigzag here, is N. And it does look like the Roman letter N might have derived from it. So that's the N. Here is actually, this is U. Now what you have to kind of understand, that the U, the vowel U, U, was center to everything. Now, a vowel is like a, open voice, like that. When the patriarchy took over at the Roman Catholic Church, they changed the order of the vowels so the vowel would no longer be the center of the vowels. Now, Native America, some parts of Native America, especially the Southwest, singing is open vowel singing. This open vowel singing actually has extended from ancient Egypt. The priests and priestesses in the temples all chanted in open vowel chants, so that's where we're getting the U, Unas, all of that. Now, Egypt was divided up a long time ago into districts, similar to what we would call counties. So in these counties, the name given to them by us is nome. These were nomes, and that these nomes had some figure to denote it. India was similar in what they called, like each village or whatever it was, the Grama Devata. That's kind of like saying every village had a goddess, a particular goddess. So similar in Egypt, every nome, every district had some figure, some standard that it would use. If you go above it and go up here, this is very similar. This is very similar. Be a rabbit in profile like that, and I put the letters UN so you could know UN here. Like that is your rabbit. Above it I've stuck in a flower to say the name for rabbit is also for flower. So flowers and rabbits in this way are related. They go together, and they're all, life, keeps going, keeps reviving, keeps coming around again and again, And right in front of it, see, I have we call a dream catcher. This is a Kauai dream catcher. It's made with, rabbit fur and rabbit leather. And in the net part, there are agates. Agates have been strung in it. Agate's pretty important. The agates I seem to be with the Yaquis. The guy who uses a rattle like Damaso, he looks around the anthills. They look for the anthills to push out little agates that they put in their cocoon rattles or in their gourd rattles here. So agates, pretty important. In this context, the Navajo, they're used as mnemonic devices, tokens, bead tokens for protection, to remember, almost like graduation presents for certain ceremonies. So that's a very interesting aspect to going together with the rabbits in all of this here. Many of the people here in Native America and northwestern Mexico have at some time or other stemmed from the Mediterranean, or maybe particularly in Egypt. The Yaquis definitely are Egyptian Copts. Another people, the Americans, called Hopi, that live on the mesas, the full name is Hopitu. I'm not sure that it's exactly connected, but it certainly looks like in ancient Egypt that this would be hoppy feel. The difference in the vowel, whether you're going to pronounce it a O, like Hopi, or more an A sound, hoppy, like that. Now, these people that we're calling this come from the Eastern Delta. I even at one time actually figured out exactly what district they came from. I don't remember the name any longer, but definitely where they're from overlooked the turquoise mines of the Sinai. In other words, if you go all the way to the east end of the delta, then you're going to be from further east, the kind of Sinai Desert, what they call it. So these people have definitely come from there, and I would guess, and I have a good way of educating guess, their standard would be the hawk, because I have definitely seen something there with them that would suggest strongly that their standard would be a hawk. So in the sense that these are not figured as totems, or maybe not exactly that people prayed to, like here where we live. Let's say there's alpine up there, they might have a standard of a mountain, you know, or certainly if you go all the way out to the desert, Ocotillo, it would probably have a picture of the Ocotillo cactus, or Borrego Springs would probably have a picture of a bighorn sheep, since that seems to be the name there. So it's to give you the idea of how thorough was all of this in the ancient time. And I'd like you to go down there below my drawing, and here is my figure of a rabbit. I would like to think that he's a jackrabbit because he's got big ears, and I have also a plant simulating the shape of a rabbit, so that all these things can go together here. Spring, fertility, woman, eggs. Rabbits are prolific, so you get a lot of things that you can really imagine around, you know, all of this. Now, of ancient Mexico, I've just been mentioning here the Southwest. There are many people here. There are also figures that have been etched or something on rocks in New Mexico that are most definitely Egyptian. And in Nevada, I have found definitely Egyptian. I have this kind of awareness because I have had several years of Egyptian art history, and that definitely initiated me into these recognitions, and including in Mexico. I did my final master's degree in Mexican art history, so already having Egyptian art history under my belt, I could recognize it in Mexico. And so I have this one piece. This is a very old book. I found it in a rare bookstore in Nevada City in Northern California. It's called Firefly in the Night. And here the author, Irene Nicholson, sounds very Irish, and she has really done a wonderful job. This was published some years ago here. In the books of Carlos Castaneda and his teacher to apprentice dialogue, a little incident happens kind of related to this, and that is that Don Juan was saying something. It must have been about the Spanish, and Carlos answers him, "I thought that the Spanish left no stone unturned in their conquering of this country." And he said, Don Juan said, "They only could overturn the stones in their own tonal, only the ones that they knew. They don't know this, and they don't even know that this exists." So that is true in various places and here, to kind of realize that. So some things people have been, definitely trying to find out. I'm trying to look at here. She's dedicating this to the many Mexicans who are trying today to fit together the puzzle of ancient Mexican civilization. So this is of a drama. It's kind of a drama sketch. Here's another interesting dramatic piece. in which the characters are various forest creatures, a precious pheasant, a singing parrot, a turtle dove, and a rabbit. And it seems as if these little creatures have come from Tiraku, the origin of paradise, and have gathered here to give pleasure to the Lord of all. And so I'm just going to give you the sketch here, as it would be in the drama. Hello, my lord. I come laughing. I am boldface. My flower song weaves and spreads. Where is the head of the house? I come from yonder, where the white flowers grow. You'll always find a trumpet to welcome you there. The water moss shines like the sun. Where's the head of the house? Later, a strange character enters who is really two separate people. He is both rabbit and deer, and represents the spirit of the maguey cactus and the tequila that is made from it. I am he who comes, the deer, to rabbit. Rabbit, maddened with drink, and deer with great antlers. My lord, oh friends, open your folded flowers, your sheaves of fested songs. The flowering tree is girt about, is upright, stands erect, and scatters flowers. In the midst of the rain art thou heard. In its branches go thou flying, precious pheasant, and making song. This is a strange business. The pheasant, who is the symbol of the sun, replies that he will dance. So he dances, and then Boldface enters back onto the scene. Here I come, singing again. I am Boldface, the splendid turtle dove, and my song is loud. I shall include it in a painting in the flowering courtyard. My song is loud. The angry rabbit appeared in the rainy season, though it is flowering time. He shivers. Look at him, my nephews. Now the gilded butterfly is sucking my heart, which is like a flower in bloom. Oh, my friends, I am shaking down the sweet scented flowers. I am shaking the battle flower, and I come from yonder by the battlefield. I'm a quetzal bird, and I come flying from the place of anguish. Then the angry rabbit replies, I am the angry rabbit. Behold me, my wrath is terrible. Lock yourselves up. I make sparks fly from the eyes. I go about laughing. I come from the flowering patio. The play ends with these following lines. Song thief, my heart, how shall you capture them? You suffer, like a painting. Take the black ink and lay in the red. Perhaps by the time you have finished your task, you will no longer suffer pain. In other words, if knowledge is fixed indelibly, as in a painting, perhaps all pain will cease. Maybe there's a simpler meaning too, that the occupation and exercise of this painter's skill will banish suffering and help to answer the questions troubling your heart. Thank you.